They don't hear me though. But they don't hear me though. But they don't hear me though. When I hop on the beat, I'm gonna be something like an oddity prodigy. Oh my god, he be rocking these beats of modern day Socrates. I'm unlocking the lock with no key. I'm not what they thought I would be. No mockery, fucking to see my cabinet of curiosities. Twilight zone beside my bone. I'm split. I need like 5 mics on inside my dome. There's no lights on. You get what I mean? I'm by gone. When I write my song, really wanna bite on like snakes. I say, better yet pythons. When I write my wrong, despite how long they never wanna break or be bygones. Mind of a comic, always thinking of new material. Out of the box, the way I kill these beats is cereal. Even though the verse is hot and blasting through your stereo. They don't really hear me though. 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 They don't really hear me though.
Yeah, it's time to clocking again, hopping the wave, get to the booth, make draws start dropping again, stopping, never been no option, cause my competition been flopping again, topping the 10 best rappers coming out of my city, got them all sobbing again, plotting to win, but I got a question, when is hip-hop gonna start hip-hopping again, Haters mobbing again, shocking to see them all start flocking again. I'm gonna get the mic cocked, but I can't let y'all's blood get on my conscience again. I'd rather fuck your girl and after take the bitch shopping again. And she gonna come back knocking again, sopping wet, gotta start mopping again. Guess they never give a fuck unless I'm popping pills, sipping lean. Y'all say anything so you can cop a deal, so it seem. I've been proud of all my shit, I keep it real, being me. But if I gotta really rap, I shoot to kill, R.I.P. And they don't even know. Been giving y'all this heat, you sleeping and it really show. It's time to wake them up with shit they make the speakers blow. But they don't really hear me though.
They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though.
Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting.
Mic in hand, ready for deployment. Podcast feels heavy as the ointment. Veteran tales straight from the trenches. Pop culture splices, pulling down the fences. Homefront sit rap, stories that collide. Veterans speaking truth, no reason to hide. Gritty and raw podcast on replay, decoding the past, paving the way. War zone whispers, bullets and bombs. Back to civilian ticking like a time bomb. Medals on the mantle, scars on the mind. Every episode another mystery to find. Homefront sit rep, voices from the fight. Veterans sharing dark, stepping into light. Real life saga, not some fairy tale. Truth and resilience, never gonna fail. Homefront sit rep, stories that collide. Veterans speaking truth, no reason to hide. Gritty and raw podcast on replay, decoding the past, paving the way. War zone whispers, bullets and bombs. Back to civilian ticking like a time bomb. Medals on the mantle, scars on the mind. Every episode another mystery to find. Legacy 11X, story of Marines. Army anecdotes, Gulf War scenes. Vietnam echoes, Desert Storm sounds. Podcast chronicles, glory and bounds. Homefront sit rep, honesty is core. Veterans laying bare what they endure. From the front lines to the homebound grief. Episodes of grit, grind through the grief.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to a Monday edition of Homefront Sitrep. How is everybody doing? Gunny, how are you, sir?
Good, man. Did some running around today for the wife. You know, she could bought a new dresser off one of those bid sites. So, you know, I'll get that out of the back of the truck tomorrow probably and see if all the pieces are there, get that together. And then I've got my annual. And then, of course, we've got a couple recordings we have to do for, you know, because we're not going to be on during the holidays. And then how about you? How's everything on your end?
Well, I got up this morning, went to the VA hospital for my PT session this morning, and this weekend, man, it took a toll on me. My knee was swollen like all get out this morning, and I get down to the physical therapist and see Valerie, and she's trying to bend my knee and move my kneecap. And she's like, bro, you're really friggin' swollen today. And it just didn't want to cooperate, but we did eventually get it to stretch out and was able to move it a little bit more, which is always a plus. And so tonight when I get off the podcast, I'm gonna go upstairs, throw some ice on it, and hopefully get the swelling to go down, and then get right back to the grind at it, man. But no, I'm super excited. So we didn't have a Facebook page for Operation Veteran Santa, and we didn't have a private group for Operation Veteran Santa. So I created those pages last night when I was sitting upstairs, and got James added as one of the admins to it and stuff like that. And we've already got people interested in helping next year for Operation
Nice.
Veteran Santa, which is super cool, because the quicker we get, finding these families now, and then start getting everything prepped for it for Christmas next year. Christmas is not here yet, but it takes a little while to get your money raised, and
Yeah.
you got to reach out to all these organizations at the beginning of the year and say, hey, this is what we got going on. So that's working out. And my daughter upset me a little bit ago. She didn't mean to, but Grace is getting ready to get her restricted, right? She goes, yeah, Daddy, when I get my restricted, I won't need you anymore. And,
Oh
and
man.
I was like, I was like, I was like, what are you talking about? You won't need Daddy no more. And she's, no, I meant for driving, Daddy. I won't need you to help me drive. I still need you for everything else. She had to quickly clarify, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, that makes my heart a little bit better. But you almost gave me a heart attack.
I'm
So
glad you still want me for my money and a place to live.
yeah, yeah. So, but no, man, I just, been playing around with things and getting, things set up for Tip the Spear on Wednesday, which you'll be, leading the charge on that. I'm creating so we got a new song for Tip the Spear. And so I'm going in and fixing the video to correlate time wise. Cause I just don't want music playing and nothing on a screen. So, just working on some things, and, just pushing on, brother. And we're excited to have the guest that we got coming on tonight, because
Absolutely.
it's something near and dear to your heart.
It is. It is. Yeah.
I was one of the lucky ones not to receive a Purple Heart, and you received your Purple Heart during Iraq and Afghanistan, there during the global war of terrorism. And it Scotty Hastings got a song, How Do You Choose? Um, it's a very heavy song about survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
And, he was shot 9 times, Army veteran, shot 9 times. His best friend didn't make it home from over there. And Purple Heart guys, man, you guys, man, so, it's hard to explain.
We bobbed when we should have weaved. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's hard to explain what you guys mean to the military community, the veteran community, because 1 inch over, you could have paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
But
For me, it's not even an inch, millimeters, and my femoral would have been severed.
And luckily, you're still here to tell your story.
Yep.
And that's Purple Heart guys and Medal of Honor guys. You guys are at the top of the chain for me, when it comes to the veteran community, with the utmost respect. So with that being said, me being not a Purple Heart guy, we're going to let you lead the show, because this is something that's near and dear to your heart, my friend.
It is. Yeah. So tonight we have Richard Fuller. He's the Army veteran, Purple Heart recipient, but he's also the president of Warriors Honor Cruise. Warriors Honor Cruise initially started off as Purple Heart Cruise by a Navy veteran. His grandson was injured, and they wanted to find something for him to do. And then they took him on a cruise and saw what a great time he had. And then they started the organization. And then just because of some legal issues, they had to change the name to Combat Wounded Cruise. And then at about the 10-year mark, they're like, yeah, we're done. Our volunteers, we can't keep doing this. It's a lot of stress on them. So Richard and a bunch of the guys just came together and said, no, we want to run this. And they've rebranded. And yeah, all the guys on the board right now are recipients. One of them I served with. I've met them all. I actually went on the last Purple Heart cruise and then the first combat wounded cruise. I've not, and of course this year will be the first Warriors Honor cruise. So, maybe I can move around things in my schedule, or just not do things, take a break for myself and the wife, and go on the first Warrior Honor cruise too. And I'm sure, there'll be a little bit of arm twisting and stuff from Richard and his wife, Tori, and some of the other guys on the board that, if I'm on the edge of going, they'll find a way to get me there. So yeah, but without further ado, let's bring on Richard and, let him tell, his life events, life story, and then talk a little bit more about Warriors Honor Cruise.
Let's do it. Welcome to the show, Mr. Richard. How are you, sir?
Hello, how are you doing, sir? I am doing wonderful.
We're doing. I got to wake up this morning and take care of things, so I can't complain.
I saw a sunrise. To me, that's the best part of the day, and a sunset just means I got to make more memories with my family.
Yep.
And
amen to that.
You can't take a day for granted here. We just never know when it's our time. You just live the best you can each and every day, and you're thankful for each day that you get.
Yeah, tomorrow's definitely not promised, and I try to tell my kids that all the time. That tomorrow's not promised. You might be here now, you might be healthy as a horse, but as soon as you get behind the wheel of a car, tomorrow's never promised. Because you never know what's going to happen.
You may not wake up in the morning. You never know.
Yep.
So
yep.
Just be grateful for what you got and live each day, like I said, just the best that you can, and do not take a second on this earth for granted. As we know, it's with the military, it's something that's near and dear to our heart, that you don't take anything for granted, because we have buddies that don't get the opportunity to wake up anymore and go to the gym with their wife, or just sit at home with their wife, or like you said, get ready to put a dresser together tomorrow for your wife. There's buddies that I know would absolutely do anything to still be here, but they're not.
Yeah, definitely. So do me a little bit of a favor. We always start off with our guests introducing themselves. You can go back as far back as you want to. You can start at your military career, like right after high school, but just do a short bio of yourself, if you don't mind.
Like you said, I'm Richard Fuller. I retired from the United States Army after 22 and a half years. I'm from a small town here, and it used to be a small town when I was growing up here just north of Atlanta, called Norcross, Georgia. That's where I graduated from in 1993. 2 weeks later, I entered the Army right after high school. Figured out it was something that I was actually good at, and something that I actually enjoyed, and decided to stay. And I served in every single position in the infantry, from rifleman all the way up to infantry company first sergeant. Served as an operations sergeant major in an infantry battalion for about 3 months, and every single position was held, and unfortunately I ended up my last couple of my tours in Iraq, I was a heavy mech guy. I wasn't a light infantry guy at the time. I always figured I would deploy with 101st, but I ended up deploying with 1st Cav. So I had wanted the smallest patch, but I got the biggest patch on my left shoulder now. So got blown up in February of 2007. Suffered a traumatic brain injury. Didn't know it at the time. Stayed in sector. Continued to go out on missions during the 15 months deployment. A total of 7 times I was hit with direct hits on my vehicle with IEDs. On convoys that I was on, we were hit with 15 IEDs, and as you know, you still get some of that concussion from other blasts, even if it's three vehicles in front of you, you're still getting that same concussion from it. The day I got hit in February of 2007, my vision kind of went blurry, and and everything. And so they took me to the aid station. They filled out everything. They didn't medevac me. They were like, oh, we're just going to let you rest. And they didn't put me in for a Purple Heart at the time. Because they're like, oh, we didn't put you on a helicopter and fly you to the next level of care. But I kept everything. And when the DOD decided to change the Purple Heart policy in 2010, I submitted my paperwork through my chain of command at the University of South Carolina. I was teaching Army ROTC for the Army at that point, and they said that was one of the because I got my second tour. I got medevac to Germany, and when you get into Germany, they send you through a TBI class and say, hey, have you ever been hit with an IED? And I'm like, yeah, I was hit with 7 and 15 on convoys, and they were like, well, we're going to do an MRI of your brain, and they ended up finding a traumatic brain injury when they did the MRI, and it was all in the MRI report. I had all that stuff to where I was able to send it to the Army, and I submitted my paperwork in May, and they had returned it by the end of June with approval of the Purple Heart. It's one of the, y'all are talking about how prestigious it is. It's one of the coolest awards, but it's also one of those awards you're like, man, I sure wish I wouldn't have got that dang thing, and it's an honor to have that award. You have your brotherhood of Army buddies, you have your brotherhood of your Marine buddies, but on top of it, now I have a huge band of brothers with Purple Hearts that that it's just a different type of group for us, and it's an awesome group.
Yeah.
We continue to grow. That group's continuing to grow, so which is good. The more outreach that you have, the better off you are on those bad days when you need to talk to somebody. Because if Sam's phone just rings and I know he's a busy person, he's always going and going, I can go down the list and call another buddy that has a Purple Heart that goes through the same type of stuff.
Yeah. So you mentioned like the brotherhood. I can only, as an outsider looking in, because I'm not a Purple Heart recipient. I know the brotherhood that like the Marine Corps has. I know the brotherhood that the Army has, and I know that those are pretty strong bonds. Like Sam and I, we went to boot camp together. We went to School of Infantry together, and we went to 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines together and served together there. And I've known him since 1997. But when it comes to that, that Purple Heart bond that you guys get, because you each have your own story. Like you each do your own military service. Now, some of you might have been in the same Humvee that got blew up by an IED or whatever, not, or somebody got shot 9 times. Your story is still still the same. I think that's what I'm trying to say, is because you almost paid that ultimate sacrifice. And I don't think the Purple Heart, I don't want to sound bad when I'm saying this. I don't want to say the Purple Heart is a cool award, and I don't want to say the Medal of Honor is a cool award, because nobody sets out in their military career and says, "Hey, I want to get a Purple Heart. I want to get a Medal of Honor." Nobody sets out.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
So
this week I had to go in, and I went in, and I still get really bad migraines from the explosions, and ultimately that's what ended my career. They ended up medically retiring me because of the migraines. I still go every 3 months and get probably about 30 jabs in my head with Botox to help with the migraines. I promise you, I would much rather not go get jabs every 3 months in the head.
I guarantee it.
But having that award, it's an honor. It's so many people before us. In World War I, there was over 1.2 million people were awarded that award. And just our wars alone, there was over 32,000 Purple Hearts presented for the war on terrorism. And
and that's counting the guys that have multiple.
Yeah,
But that's not
absolutely.
just
And
individuals. That's the guys. That's kind of everybody that has multiple too.
yeah, it's a huge brotherhood, you know, and that's an award that people notice wherever you go. You know, if you have tags on your truck, you know, I remember when I was a kid riding in my car and I saw somebody with Purple Heart tags. I'm like, man, that's pretty neat. And now I have
Yeah.
them on my car. It's like, oh man,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
be,
mean,
be careful. Be careful what you wish for sometimes, right?
yeah.
But, you know, and it's
yeah,
still, you know, it's
yeah.
the old,
I
it's
didn't
the
wish for it.
yeah, it's the oldest military decoration too. So, you know, being a part of that history of, you know, General Washington and the military badge of merit, and you know everything that went in behind that, and then what it has become today, you know, and then
Yeah,
yeah, and then just, you know, like
I
Troy stepped
saw.
on here earlier and said Semper Fi, Sam. You know, Troy and I served together. When I came back up for current duty, he's the first person I met at 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines. You know, he was back while the battalion was in Haiti, and then I deployed down to Haiti, and then he welcomed us home.
I saw I was driving back to Texas, and I pulled into a gas station, and a big bus of military. I guess they were coming back from Fort Polk, going back to 82nd, and there was just a couple of kids standing in front of the store, and I had Purple Heart tags on my vehicle, and I pulled up to the front of the store, and they see it on my car, and one of them's like, man, that guy's got a Purple Heart. You know, they understand what it means. You know, they
Yeah,
understand what we went through. You know, and some of us didn't physically bleed on the battlefield, but you know, we bled within our brain, you know,
Yeah.
and some people have issues with the way they're awarding it now, but it's an injury, you know, and my life's not the same because of what happened over there fighting, you know,
yeah.
just as thousands of other people, you know, have the same issue, you know, and it's
Yeah. Well, warfare has changed over the years anyway.
you know,
From back there in World War, let's go back to Civil War days. Civil War, used to line up and cross from each other and shoot each other, shoot at each other, and then it changed, and then now warfare. I mean, the computers and stuff that are entrenched in infantry units now that I didn't have when I was there. So
yeah,
warfare has changed.
absolutely.
And I
Well, I mean,
think
just
with
look at the drone warfare that's been going on
yeah,
between Russia and Ukraine, right? I mean, there's still somebody operating that drone somewhere, right?
yeah,
They don't have to physically be on the battlefield anymore. So the scope of the battlefield has changed a lot with technology, and just like the medical advances have changed with technology, but it also changes because of war. You
yeah.
know, and if you look back over time, the medical advances that were made during those times of war or conflict. But
And
Yeah.
most
so
with Vietnam, there was more abdomen wounds, so they
yeah,
made
Yeah.
adjustments. We started wearing the vest with the plates, and now it's more head wounds. It's more of
lower
limbs
extremity.
lost. Yeah, it's and that's good. You know, they protected us a lot more with our upper torso. You know, and even with the flaps where it protects our genitals too. You know, it's one of those things. They're like we can protect guys from losing a ball or something like that. So
Well, I mean, that's not only that. That's what saved my life. If I would not have been wearing my groin protector the night I got blown up, that the shrapnel would have gone directly into the femoral or into that portion of the leg and not been deflected somewhere else. So I owe my life to that groin protector. And then the
yeah,
first thing I did is reach down and make sure everything was all right down
every
there. Took a big sigh of relief. But
when you wake
that's
up, you're like, it's still there. Yes.
yeah, that's woo.
Oh man.
So tell us a little bit about Warrior Honor Cruise. How it started. I went into a little bit of history of it. But from
Our,
your perspective, like your first cruise to where you're at now.
the it'll always be Purple Heart Cruise to me. No matter what the name of it is, it will always be Purple Heart Cruise to me. But JJ O'Connor and Mary O'Connor, their grandson Alex was a Marine, and he got injured in I think Iraq, and he ended up messing up one of his hands. So they went up there to Walter Reed, and while they were there, they were like, we've got to figure something out. We've got to figure something out for these veterans so that we can give them some kind of hope to look forward to. And they founded it the very first cruise. They had, I think, 4, maybe 5 Purple Heart recipients that were on board. This last cruise in October, total with alumni and new Purple Heart recipients, there were 35 Purple Heart recipients that were on board. For the 10 years that they have done it, they had over 115 Purple Heart recipients. If you have a wife, if you have a wife and children, they will pay up to the first 2 children for your very first cruise. I have been on every single cruise except the very first one. After the first one, if you don't apply for team leader and get selected, then you have to pay for your cruises. I was selected 2 different times. They had a team leader end up bailing like right away, had a medical emergency or something. So they asked me if I wanted to do it. So they paid for 3 of my cruises. Other than that, I've paid for every single one of them. For me and my wife now, we've been on 3 of them. And to me, the best one, were you on the one right after COVID, Sam? Did you go to that one?
When it was
the very first one.
Yeah, 75% capacity on the ship.
To me, that was by far the best Purple Heart cruise that we had, because it was so much more intimate, with the couples and that group right there has really became really good friends, the husbands and wives, and just most of them are alumni that come back now, and 2 of them for sure are on the board with me. Just because I felt that we needed to put Purple Heart recipients on the board. The previous founders ran it how they felt fit, and I respect that. It gave us a great foundation of where we are now, and it's given us a wonderful aspect of where we want to go with this thing. Total, like I said, there's been 135 Purple Heart recipients. Or I'm sorry, 115 Purple Heart recipients on board, and to date, there has not been one suicide of a previous cruiser that has cruised with this organization. That speaks a lot of this organization and their efforts into helping veterans. I credit them for helping save my life, because I was in a really bad spot during one of them, and I can't believe they actually allowed me to come back after the way I acted on one of them. Just, it's an embarrassment to myself. It was an embarrassment to that organization, and I've apologized. And obviously it was a long, hard road for them to decide what they were going to do with it. But everybody says it was meant to be for me to become the president of this organization. And it's absolutely an honor to be able to stand and continue to help fight suicide prevention, within our ranks. It's just an important aspect of being a veteran now is having those outreaches and having those outlets to where you can absolutely trust somebody, and there's a chat group with the wives, there's a chat group with all the husbands, and if you have a bad day, a red flare will get sent up by a wife, said, hey, can you please get your husbands to check up on Sam, say, hey, can you check up on Sam today, because he's just having a bad day, and all of a sudden Sam's phone's going to ring about 15 times probably, because he's going to get text and stuff like that, and that's, and last March I got some bad news about my neck. I had surgery 2 Novembers ago, and I'm still having a lot of pain, and just the doctor said, yeah, we don't see anything, and I was in a very bad place that day, and all of a sudden my phone started ringing, and I knew what my wife had done, and I'm grateful that she has that outlet to get me the help that, it's no, I wasn't in a place to where I was like, hey, I'm just going to go out there and kill myself. But, we have to worry about that within our ranks,
Oh yeah.
and that's the sad part, is that we have to worry about that. But I had 4 different people reach out to me and make sure that I'm okay and everything. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that we have that outreach now. And, the founders of it had a great vision of where they wanted to go with it and where they wanted to take it to. And like Sam said during the introduction, that they're both getting older. They've got aging parents, and they just decided that it was time for them to walk away from it. And we weren't gonna actually take it over until July. I was just gonna turn it into a travel group and keep the alumni continuing to go. But I was on a golf course in Idaho with my wife's father, and I got a call. I'd been praying about it and saying, hey, God, what do you want me to do with this? Do you want me to try to take it over? Do you want me to do this? And I just couldn't get the sign. And I just got a pretty easy life. I go back and forth to Texas every 2 weeks. I'm a dad in Texas. I'm a husband here, father here also, but got a pretty easy life, And I was like, I don't know if I really want a bunch of stress and everything. But I got a phone call on that golf course that day that one of my friends had taken his own life, and that to me was a sign from God saying, hey, you need to do this. This is something that you can continue to help. You can continue to help your brothers and sisters find ways away from taking your own lives, and as soon as I got that message, I made a few phone calls and I started the takeover of the organization. I put a board together. I've got 4 other guys that all 4 have Purple Hearts, and they're all really, really fired up about getting this organization up and running and maintaining the longevity of it, and just continuing to push forward. And hopefully we can get another 10 years out of it. That's what I hope, because as the wars get farther and farther away, organizations like this are going to start fading more and more, and the wounds don't go away. The images of war don't go away. Just time continues to pass, and people start drifting away from war, and they're like, oh, those veterans don't really need this anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately, when, like, for me, doing this podcast is my form of therapy, like the stuff that I've seen. So doing this podcast helps. It helps minimize the demons from creeping in, but they're still there. They're always knocking at that door, ready to get out. And when for people say, "Oh, well, your PTS is not that bad," I right now I got a disabled tag, and they're like, "Well, you don't look disabled to me." I'm like, "You don't know about the invisible wounds of war that are lurking on the inside." Plus I just had a new knee put in, and I, I love what you guys are doing. I love cruising. I love going on Carnival. Carnival's one of the best cruise lines that I've ever been on, and the staff, has always been very pleasant. Especially once they find out that I'm a veteran, which is not hard to see that
Well,
I don't
people can
hide
tell.
it.
That's the funny thing.
Yeah, I don't hide it, and the Carnival's always taking care of us, with the like a veteran discount, because the guy that we go through, his name's Carlos. He's the one that does all our bookings. He asks, is anybody in the group a veteran? And of course they definitely take care of you on that end. So what kind of events do you guys do while you're on the ship to help build that sense of community, that sense of camaraderie while you guys are on the cruise?
Well, the very first day when we get there, we all get together, introduce ourselves. Hey, this is me, my wife. How many cruises you've been on. The second day, it's just the veterans, and then the wives have a group too. So there's a wife support group that meets at the same time. You know, during that time, we all come together. We just tell our stories of, hey, this is what happened to me. This is what I do now. You know, nothing really, really deep unless people want to take it deeper. You know, we're not trying to push anything to get people past the point to where they're just really shaken up about stuff. The wife's group, you know, they do some crafts and stuff like that, and they tell a little bit of their stories, you know, and since the COVID cruise, I have seen to where the focus has always been on the Purple Heart recipients on board, you know, and our focus moving forward is also, it's not only going to be on us, but it's also going to be on the wife. And it was before, but we're going to try to do some other things with the wives. You know, we've had people that has come up to, we've had wives that came up after that first cruise after COVID, and they were like, just thank you so much for doing this. I haven't seen my husband smile in 12 years, you know, and absolutely just grinning from ear to ear. There's another gentleman that's he's up north, and you know, the very first day he freaked out about getting on board, and his wife was like, y'all don't know how much I love seeing my husband the way he was. And all we did was just meet. You know, we didn't do any kind of, there's no therapy on there. You know, there's nothing like that. But also, me and my wife have talked about it a lot, probably more than she really wants to, because it's on my mind all the time about how we're going to improve this organization. And
Right.
we want to focus more on allowing the couples to reconnect as a couple. Because when you're home, you got 2 kids, you got 3 kids, you got other stuff going on. But once you get on board, if it's just you and your husband, you know, we want that reconnection to take place, because if there's a healthy marriage, more than likely that veteran's going to be healthy in the mind, and the veteran's not going to be wanting to take his life, you know.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that my wife is going to be running the wives group moving forward. You know, we're trying to come up with great ideas to be able to reconnect with, let them be able to reconnect. And that's our whole thing, is I just want them to be able to spend some time together just by themselves, enjoy time. There's no stress, you know. Yeah, we're still going to do some meetings. There's still going to be a day that we get sea bags, and we get people that donate stuff to us, t-shirts and stuff like that. And we'll put them in sea bags, and we'll do a big photo session so that we can do advertising for the people that's giving us stuff. You know, we had Black Rifle Coffee Company gave us hats one year, you know, and my wife's family owns a ranch out in Idaho, and they donated some t-shirts for us that one year, you know. And it's just, to me, I just want us to be able to allow husbands and wives to reconnect, to build that relationship back strong again, to where they have a strong foundation going home, you know.
Yeah.
And that,
Well,
Yeah, and it's not like they don't meet the entire day, right? So they might pick an hour or 2 in the morning to meet, and then there might be another session in the afternoon that's an hour or so. And it's the same for the wives. And then like the next sea day, and it's only at sea days. It's not days that you have port days and stuff like that, but those days that you're at sea where there's really nothing going on, the group tries to get everybody together, and you get to know the other guys and girls that are there. You get to know the spouses that are there, and some of the kids sometimes that come on board, and you get to know them as people too, right? It's not just Purple Heart recipient, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, you know, whatever. And then, but those days that you do have a port day, it's just you and your spouse, and you're doing whatever. And that first cruise that April and I went on, Tori's like, hey, we're going to Megan's Bay. Do you guys want to come? Hell yeah, we want to go to Megan's Bay. We don't know what it is, but we're going to go.
We ended up taking that place over.
It was like 5 or 6 of the couples on that ship from our group that were over at Megan's Bay, you know, just hanging out. And, you know, we all got really close because it was a smaller cruise, size-wise, people-wise.
Yep.
You know, because I think they were only operating at 50% or something. It wasn't a whole lot of people, and they still had a whole lot of restrictions.
Nice.
Yeah, it was real. I mean, you didn't have to stand in line for the comedy club. You didn't have to. Yeah, there he goes right there. You didn't have to stand in line for anything. And there was one time it was Troy and Richard and myself and one of the other board members, Jason. We were in the comedy club, and it was a female Marine, and we were in the later show, so it was a little bit more raunchy. And she started talking about Viagra. And all of a sudden, she's like, "Anybody take Viagra?" And here, all the guys in the back of the room are like, "Woo!" And everybody just turns around and look. But all the civilians were like crickets, man. But here you go, all these vets that because of the trauma that we've experienced, there are things that happen within the brain that happen within, and the adrenalines and all this other crap that we can get into, at a different time with the doctor. But it's some people need a little pick me up, and those that do are woo, and she was all excited about it. But yeah, I mean,
we always me and my wife always pick one day.
Yeah, hilarity ensues, and it's a good time. And then the friendships continue past that cruise. I had Jason in for Warrior Weekend this year. We're going to get Richard in for the 25. I've invited a bunch of the guys to go fishing with me with the Operation Tightlines group up in New Jersey this year. And then last year, I'm at Army Navy, and I get a text, "Hey, where you at?" And Richard's up in the stand, so we got to meet at the Army Navy game and hang out for a little bit last year up in Massachusetts. So I mean, and then some of the other guys that I've met are we've connected throughout the year and stuff, and linked up when I'm in their area or whatever. So I mean, it's just a good deal. And then each night we try to get everybody together to have a dinner, to have dinner,
yep.
and sit there and the cruises that I was on, you're encouraged to sit with somebody else every night, so you get to know them a little bit more, right? Because you're sitting there for an hour at dinner. But no, it's a good time. And I when Richard and Jason's like, "Hey, by the way, this is what's happening," I'm like, I figured something was going to happen, but April and I were ready just to go on cruises with the guys and the wives.
Everybody kept asking, they're like, what's going on? What are we doing? And I'm like, there's going to be an announcement. I promise you. Yeah. It wasn't my place to announce what was going to happen. It was JJ's place. So this time the cigar night they do cigar night every single night. They go out there. The cigar night was a really, really big hit this year. There was a lot of good conversations that went out there, and I'm not a smoker. I've never smoked, but I would go out there and I would sit out there for 15, 20, 30 minutes with them and just sit out there and BS with them. And right there's during that cigar session, there's so much healing that's going on.
Yeah.
And I never thought about it as being healing until this last cruise, because I kind of stepped back and I just took everything in, because I just want to make sure that I don't dishonor their vision and I don't dishonor the Purple Heart moving forward, and it just means so much to me to where it's an honor to be able to continue to lead this organization and continue to push forward and to allow us to continue to grow our network, and that's all it is we're just building a bigger network for more Purple Heart recipients. My wife does a brunch with the wives, and that's just the ladies. It's we just want the ladies to understand that they have a safe place too within the wives group, because some of the wives are struggling too, because they have to deal with us every single day and our struggle, and it's good for them to have that same outlet, and they did, but the focus was more on us, and I just want to make it our focus to start focusing not only on the Purple Heart recipient, but also on the caregiver, because they also need the support too from us.
What we could do, or what you could do, is we could do a joint meeting and do the love boat, the the 10 questions, right? Come up with 10 questions and just see
Yeah.
how that way you're not on, you're not in front of the entire boat. You're just in front of your little group, just to see how well the answers match up, right? That could be something fun, right?
I didn't know where you were going with that there.
And they don't have to be raunchy. No, so it's it's kind of like the Newlywed Game that they
It's called
do.
Love and Marriage.
Yeah,
Love and Marriage. That's the best show on the ship.
Absolutely. I mean, but ice cream. Anyway, but I mean,
It's always the older couple that's the raunchiest.
That's the best. Yeah. That's the best. But you could do a mini Love and Marriage, and just within the group, and you would definitely learn a lot about some people for sure. But I mean, it's just something to get everybody together, right? And to break the tension, break the ice a little bit. And you talked about being at the out in the cigar pit and smoking, but those are the organic conversations, right? We're not sitting there in one of the convention rooms doing a forced conversation, right?
So they're comfortable out there.
Yeah, and they're going to talk with what they want to talk, and sometimes that people don't want to talk around other people that honestly aren't Purple Heart recipients or didn't truly see combat, and that's
like the wives.
You can't fault them for that, And the
that's
wives,
like the wives. That's why.
The
wives
don't want to open up. Yeah, the wives don't want to open up to somebody that isn't or hasn't gone through that struggle. You may have gone through a deployment, you may have gone through some training cycles and stuff like that. But if your loved one hadn't gone through combat deployments and seen the things that we have seen, the wives don't want to open up. They might open up with one or two of the other ones that they've connected with. But, and just like anywhere, you don't, some people just aren't comfortable opening up in front of people they don't know too.
A healthy marriage is good for both. And that's, I know when I was going through my divorce, it wasn't a healthy marriage and I struggled, and I'm the happiest I've ever been right now. I've got a wife that absolutely supports me and supports this organization and supports my vision of where we want to go, and it's awesome to have that feeling, and I just want everybody that comes and is a part of this organization to have that same feeling, and obviously a relationship's different no matter what, but I just want them to feel loved on that boat and for them to be able to have the opportunity to reconnect as a husband and wife.
Yeah. Well, and Tori will put boot to your ass too. So, I mean, there's
absolutely. She's not going to mess around. She'll let me know you're dumb. You shouldn't have did that. I've come up with so many different ideas and I run all of them by her and she's like, no, that's really not a good idea. And I listen to her, and it works. It works for us. And she's going to do wonderful with her portion. And, the wives are going to love it, and the organization before it was an awesome organization, man. They 100% saved people's lives and moving forward, I just hope that we can continue, since the war on terrorism started, we've had 114,000 veterans take their own lives, and that's unacceptable. And that's us as veterans. To me, all these organizations that are there, the only way we fix it is us. Us as veterans are the ones that are going to fix it. It's not going to be the VA. It's not going to be ABC News sending us somewhere. It's going to be us helping each other out, and this is my way of being able to help other veterans out, and also the board. Their vision is just like mine. They want to take this to such high places that it's going to be a fun ride, and even if you're not a Purple Heart recipient, come join us on one of them. That would be awesome for you to come and see with your own eyes of what it is. There's other veterans that come, when it's time for just the Purple Heart recipients to talk, we ask everybody to leave that's not a Purple Heart recipient. We love all veterans, and that's we want veterans to come And the bigger, the bigger network we have, the better off we are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And when
and
Sam's
it's just not for the global war on terror guys either. Anybody, it's
No,
anybody,
we've
any
had
era
we
that
had a
has a Purple
Vietnam
Heart.
vet.
So
Yeah, we had a
yeah,
Vietnam
just
vet not too long ago.
yeah. So
yeah,
just to make that clear, I mean, there's a lot of talk about the global war on terror, but a lot of it started because of the global war on terror. So anybody
Yep.
that's out there that has a Purple Heart is welcome.
Yep.
yeah, when Sam was like, "Hey, we need to get these guys on," and I started doing my little research into you guys, I was like, "Yeah, we definitely need to get them on to get their story out there." And luckily, we have a community here with veteran podcasters that has just grown and grown. So what we're going to do is I'm going to send your information out to these other veteran podcasters and say, hey, you guys need to have this guy on your show to talk about what they're doing for Purple Heart recipients. And I think that would be amazing to get your story out there even
Absolutely.
to a bigger audience. And then there's a couple comments here. I know you're on your
Yeah. So
phone.
those.
So it's hard.
So there. Yeah. So Troy.
Well, I'm
Yeah, I
going
don't
to
know.
go here.
Yeah,
Derek Smith, he
your
said he
old
was your
roommate.
roommate at Fort Hood between
Yep.
2006 and 2010. He said, good to see you, old buddy. Steve Kingsley said, hey, Sam and Rich, hope all is well.
Yeah, he's one of the board members. I
Board
think he's
member.
over in Indiana.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there was a few other comments. I think, let's see. Let me go back. No, maybe
And
that's
Troy's one of the board members. Him and I served together. And if Troy's still on here, if he's comfortable going on a podcast, there's a female Marine who was a public affairs Marine who she only interviews Marines. So if he wants to go on her show and talk about his life events and where he's at now and stuff, or Jason, because he was, both
Marine too. Yep.
Yeah, so we can definitely get them connected to, so we do Misfit Nation, Triple Threat Vets, Every Day's a Saturday, Oscar Mike Radio. So there's so many of them we get you connected with.
I'm willing to do whatever.
Okay.
The bigger footprint you have, the better off you are. And
yeah.
We're to have a bigger footprint on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's, my social media person right now has us live on our page also, right? Through y'all's links and stuff like that. So it's, you've got to get your name out there, and that's where I think we're going to do so much better as an organization, is getting our name out there. They had their fundraisers they did, and it paid for 10 years of cruising, and their donors are still donating to me, and I'm grateful for those donations. If it's not for the donors, this organization wouldn't be happening. I'm very grateful for all the donors that have given in the past, and I'm grateful for the donors that have absolutely started giving to me already, and I'm excited to where we are at right now as an organization financially, but the fundraising never ends. You've got to continue to push forward and continue to raise money if you want to continue to make this happen. And for sure, that's exactly what we want to do, is continue to push forward. And if we get out there with more podcasts and everything, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, so we'll definitely get you connected as soon as either tonight or tomorrow. I will start sending out those emails as an introduction, and to get you introduced. Sam, if you want to introduce Troy to Tab, I'll let you introduce that one. I can do the same thing, but I'm not friends with Troy. You are, so I figured go ahead and let you shoot that out. But I know, Richard, you got a ball game to get in there and coach your kiddos. Family is the most important thing at this time in our life.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank you for coming on here and talking about Warriors Honors Cruise and what you guys are doing. It's friggin' phenomenal. In the words of our hero, it's phenomenal. If we can help you in any way at HomeFront Sitrep, reach out to Gunny, reach out to me, and we'll help you any way we can. So,
all right. And thank y'all for what y'all do. I've listened to a few of your podcasts, and veteran community, taking care of veteran community is important. And thank you.
Yes,
thank you so much for allowing me to be here tonight and hopefully we have a good basketball game tonight and I don't get thrown out.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, hopefully you guys pull out that W. We'll be rooting for you here in the Willis household. So hopefully you guys get that W.
All right. Thank y'all so much.
Hey, thank you, sir. You have a good night, my friend.
You too. I'll talk to you soon, Sam.
Yeah, man.
All right. Later.
Later.
Tip.
Man, that was super cool, Sam. That was super
Dude,
cool.
I tell you, I mean, and we can't even talk about all the great things that happens on the cruise, you know. And it's like I said, on the port days, some of the spouses and the vets get together and we all go meet up at one spot, or we go do our own thing and eventually end up meeting up at the same spot.
Yeah.
And a lot of the spouses have cruised for a while, and they have little ins and outs and secrets that they share with the other spouses. One of the spouses, Jason's wife, she told us about this resort for a day, so we ended up booking a resort for the day when we were in the Dominican, and that's where we went. We went over there and hung out with them, and back to the ship. But you see each other throughout the the day and the week, but it's a sad goodbye when you're leaving, because you've made new family, like Richard said, I've gotten the text, or April has gotten the text, hey, text so and so or call so and so and see how they're doing. And you do, and it's not an obligation, but as friends and brothers, that's what you do, is you check on each other, make sure you're all in the good headspace and you're all doing good. And Troy mentioned, going to the shows, that Love and Marriage show is, I mean, we all try to sit with each other, and try to guess the answer or watch the reaction from the crowd, or the comedy club. We all sit together at the comedy club, and we're in there because we're loud, and then some of like the rock show or some of the other singing shows, we all try to go together and hang out and have that time, and you still get that one-on-one time with your spouse. April and I, there was one day we just took off and at one of the ports and did our own thing, and you got to do that sometimes, or you just go hang out in the room.
Yeah, that's what I love about going on a cruise ship. So normally when we go cruising, there's 10 to 15 different families. So you get your adults and plus children that go on these cruises. And if I'm having a bad day, I look at my wife and I'm like, look, I'm gonna go just chill out in the room for a little bit. Or or hey, I'm gonna go hang out at the on the Lido deck at the pool and just just relax or whatever. And there's many nights, dude, I'd get up at like 02:03 and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go walk the deck just to clear my thoughts, just to get my mind from racing. And so I know what it's like with doing it with a big crowd like that. But then you bring your brothers and sisters into that mix with the veterans out there, whether it's Purple Heart veterans or just just veterans in general. I think that would be a super friggin' cool cruise to be on. For one, I know if me and you and a bunch of other veterans go on a cruise, you got my 6, I got your 6, so I know I could relax a lot more in that aspect of things. And there are a whole plethora of tricks when you go on cruises. If I think we've been on like 10 or 12 cruises over the last 8-9 years here. And it's just you can learn so many tricks of the trade when you're going on these cruise ships. And like you said, resort for the day. You pull into where we pull in St. Thomas, St. Lucia, one of those ports, and we know there's the Reggae Beach Bar is there, and it's maybe you jump in a cab and you go like 15-20 minutes from the port, and you're on a lone beach with one little beach bar that sells food, alcohol, and nobody shows there. It's like a local hangout. So we go up there and we pretty much took over the whole bar, and it was so cool doing things like that. And I think if you take a group of veterans and isolate them to a spot where they feel comfortable, because it's all veterans there, I think that would be something cool to do as well. So
Yeah, one of the cool things that they do is, the Carnival, especially because that's who we cruise with, does the Veteran Appreciation Day thing, or
yep,
the meeting, and the Purple Heart group goes up and takes a picture. Well, we've had like random people just jump in our photos. So you see the photo when one of the volunteers, Bill, does great job doing photography for the Purple Heart group, and we'll look at the photos and be like, "Who is that dude? Oh wait, who is she? Where'd they come from?" But it was a veteran that was in the crowd, and then when the Purple Heart guys get up there to take the photo, they just
snuck in.
work their way in there. Yeah, so it's like, it's kind of like a Where's Waldo, and then you're like right there. I don't know who that
Yeah,
guy is. He wasn't part of our group.
yeah,
That'd
photo
be like,
bombs.
that'd be like me, jumping in, you know, 1069's graduation photo and be like, wait, that's not one of our guys.
Yeah,
Again.
yeah,
But
definitely.
no, it's a great time, and we've not, the cruises I was on with them, we didn't have any issues whatsoever. They had medical personnel that were volunteers, that were on the board that helped out when and where they could. But no, I think one cruise there were, I think five or six of us guys that served together from 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines. One
Nice.
of our corpsmen, and like 4 or 5 of the guys from the other platoons and other companies. So it was really cool. It was kind of like a mini reunion for us. And then I think that was my second cruise. But yeah, that first cruise we were at 50%, and we had a really good time. And because of the COVID protocol, most of the guys that were there were, our generation. So
Mm,
a lot younger. So I think that's why we connected so much better than some of the ones in the past, and the ones that have recently happened. But no,
heck
it's
yeah.
it's a great time. I'm sure if the wife's watching or listening, she'll be twisting my arm to go, especially with Richard asking. I'm sure Tori's hitting her up. Hey, you guys really need to come this year. So
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm excited that they were able to come on and able to make time with his schedule. Like I say, he's back and forth between Texas and Atlanta every 2 weeks. Um,
That's crazy,
so
bro. That's crazy. To I mean, I know you're busy, I'm busy, but to travel, to throw that travel time in there between Georgia and Texas, or is it Texas or
Texas and
yeah,
Georgia.
yeah. And it's like, holy cow, man. Um, so it's about that time of night, Sam. First off, I want to say to the people that are out there chatting and commenting, if you haven't went ahead and followed Homefront Sitrep on Facebook, make sure you go to Homefront Sitrep podcast. Go follow that, and then on our YouTube channel, because I know we got a lot of people watching our YouTube channel. Um, go subscribe, like and share. The more people, the more veterans we can reach helps me sleep at night, because I'm always afraid of that one veteran sliding through the crack. So the more veterans I can reach, the more veterans Gunny and I can reach. That helps us sleep at night.
Yes,
And
Steve made a comment. It says "Go Comets." So the minor league team, hockey team near him are the Comets, and they play the Cincinnati Cyclones like 5 or 6 times throughout the season. So
nice.
yeah, the Cyclones are doing terrible this year. By the way, um, the first game we went to this year, they won, but they lost the night prior to the Comets. So yeah,
Oh
so
man,
yeah. If I would have known Steve was going to jump on tonight, I would have worn my Cyclones hat over there in the corner.
I hear you. Uh, So on Thursday nights, you can find Homefront Sit Rep on reachacrossamerica.org/radio, or you can find us on, or you can find them Reach Across America on the iHeartRadio TuneIn app or Audacity app. Just search the word Wreath. HomeFront Sitrep is on there Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern. The link is scrolling across the bottom of the page there. We are a proud partner and sponsor with Reach Across America Radio. Next year, Homefront Sitrep we'll have a link so you can go buy the wreath and you can place it on a loved one's grave or a veteran that don't have loved ones anymore, so their memory is not forgotten. And then $5 of that sale of each wreath will go to a veteran service organization. Me and Sam and maybe Candace, if she's back by then, will decide who we're going to donate to. We might even just put them on a random wheel and spin the wheel and see who we land on. Because there's so many great organizations out there. I think we're going to try to stay local probably first for the first year with that, and then expand outward from there. But yeah, so you can find Homefront Sitrep on Reach Across America Radio on Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern. Sam, let's talk about this right here, brother.
Yeah, you're not alone. And our guest tonight, hit the nail on the head. They had 100+ guys and girls that have sailed with them, and no one has succumbed to their demons. You still have worth, you still have value. Don't let your hard days win.
Amen. And then hashtag be someone stranger. It's something new we started here on Homefront Sitrep. And what we mean by hashtag be someone stranger is we as humans are more apt to talk to a complete stranger about the struggles that we're facing today, tomorrow, whatever day we're facing that struggles. We're more apt to talk to a complete stranger. So be somebody stranger. Let somebody open up to you and you be their ear to listen to. Not fix them, because not everybody's looking for a fix. Just let somebody be somebody's ear, be someone's stranger. I think if we all join in that mission of being someone's stranger, I think we can help eliminate a lot of the problems that is going on within our communities. So hashtag be someone's stranger. And then, if you're a veteran, you're in crisis, reach out to somebody, whether it's Sam, me, um, Richard Fuller, whoever. Reach out to somebody, or you can also call 988-1 if you're a veteran, 988 if you're not a veteran. And if you don't like the person that you're chatting with, disconnect, call back in and get somebody different. And keep doing that until you get somebody that you feel comfortable with. And a lot of times within the first 30 seconds, you can tell if you're going to be comfortable with the person that's on the other end of that phone. You can text message them. You can go online and you can chat with 988 as well. So you can do both of those, depending on what you're comfortable with. So let's play that commercial real quick, Sam. Yeah, so 988-1 if you're a veteran, 988 if you're not a veteran, if you're a family member, a veteran, or just somebody who's going through a crisis, 988. I want to give a shout out to Miss Sarah Kate. She said, "This is fantastic what you are doing and supporting. I know Richard Fuller personally, and he is an amazing human doing great things with Warrior Honor Cruise. Thank you, Miss Sarah Kate. Thank you very much." I just saw Jason Steiner with Hero Stock just joined in as well. I don't know if he's still on here watching, but Hero Stock is a concert series. It's a nonprofit out of Nebraska. They focus on veterans and first responders, Gold Star families, and family members. Well, they put on concerts around the country. This year, I think they're doing 5. that brings in veteran singers and family members of veterans, and host these big concerts. And what they do is they go to an area, they bring in all the veteran service organizations from that county or that area that they're in to help highlight those veteran service organizations. So check out Hero Stock if you get a chance. Um, Bruce Haskins says, yes, Richard is rocking it. Thank you for all you do for Warriors Honor Cruise. And if you're a veteran out there and you are just starting your VA journey, and you're filing your disability, or you have a question about your disability, or if you want a second opinion about something that's been denied, HomeFront Sitrep has partnered with Monica Sanford out of Florida. She runs a podcast called The Monica Sanford Show. That's SANFORD. She's amazing. We partner with her. You can email her at askmonica0@gmail.com. She will get back to you really, really quickly, and she's very knowledgeable. She works with the VA hand in hand, kind of, sort of, but she helps veterans get their ratings. So she's friggin' phenomenal. We're gonna play this peppy commercial real quick. Yeah, so go check out if you have questions, or if you want to file your disability, or you want a second opinion, email Monica at askmonica0@gmail.com, and she will definitely take care of you. And then, like I said, Jason Steiner's in here with Hero Stock. Just want to give Hero Stock a big shout out. 2025's coming up. I can't wait to see some of the concerts, and hopefully we can get Hero Stock into Kentucky. I'm still waiting on them to get back with me, and hopefully we'll get that rocking and rolling here in Kentucky as well. But other than that, it's about that time of night. Sam, you got any closings? Any kind of closings?
Go Blue.
I love how you put your head down like that.
I mean, you have to if you want to get deep. No, I saw Jason's comment on there. He's a Michigan fan / Auburn fan. He's works for the sheriff's department down there near Auburn, and he's at every Auburn game. But I know deep down he's still a Michigan fan.
Nice. Yeah, so it's about that time of night, Sam. It's a great show.
It's about that time of year because we've got our tip of the spear on Wednesday. You won't be here. I'll be here. You won't be here.
I won't be here.
And then, the rest of the year will be pre-recorded shows. So this will be the last time that you see Willis and I live in 2024. Next time you see us live will be January 2025.
5th. Yeah, January 5th, 2025. We got a whole slate of things coming up. Like Sam said, we do have some recorded episodes coming up on the let's pull a calendar up. So it'll be the 22nd, 23rd. We'll have recorded episodes. The 29th and 30th, we'll have recorded episodes. And 2 of them will get recorded tomorrow. We're gonna be busy.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna
be busy. Next couple days, we're busy.
Yeah, we're super busy the next couple of days, ending out the 2024 season. And what's kept me going, for one, this helps me. Like I said, this is my therapy. But you guys coming in here and chatting with me and Sam, or me and Candace, you guys are what makes this possible for us. This when you guys are in here, whether we're 20 deep, 30 deep, whether we're 5 deep, I don't care if we got just one person watching. As long as I'm reaching one veteran a day, I've succeeded in my mission for that day. So you guys are why we do this. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to come in to your world for at least an hour, every Sunday and Monday night. Check back out on Wednesday. I won't be here. Sam will be running the madhouse called the Tip of the Spear Veterans Roundtable. Should be pretty good. Sam's running it all. I'm getting the video up and ready for him, and I think it's going to be a great show. Sam, you got any closing statements?
Yeah, we'll get the tutorial knocked out here tomorrow or the next day. That way I don't screw it up too bad.
You'll be fine, brother. It ain't that hard. And guys, like we say, always on Homefront Sitrep. Stay safe out there. We got your six. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your six.